Hi folks, Tim here, and welcome back to Elmendorf Acres in this special edition of From 8 to 38, the Chronicles of a Young Entrepreneur. We are in the truck on our way up to Eklund's Farm Machinery for their annual fall auction. And we've got I think 20 or 21 items on the list that we're watching. A whole bunch of different things that I did some research on. Wrote all the lot numbers down. I wrote down what they were and how much they actually retail for, because there's some brand new stuff there that we're interested in. Different ratchet straps, rigging, chains, tires, a lot of smalls, and a couple larger items that we can get into if we end up buying them. But that's one thing you can do when you're in business for yourself and hoping to save some money, is go to these auctions and not get caught up in the fun of the auction, because it is a blast. The problem is you start bidding and all of a sudden you're spending 10, 15, 20% more than it costs new, and that's before you put the auction fees on top of it. So by going into it, doing your research first, knowing what those lots are, you have a good idea of what you're willing to spend as your top dollar. So I did that, and that's kind of what I do before every auction, is try to do a preview. In this case, we did a flyover video back on Wednesday, and I'll post a link to that in the description. But it was a fun flyover. We brought the drone up and just did a nice, easy walk around of the auction lot, the whole field of stuff that they are selling. And some of it is, when you're up there before the auction, it's a lot less stressful. You can wander around, enjoy what you're seeing. You don't have everybody else watching you to see if maybe you're interested in it, and because you're interested in it, they're going to bid it up too. So that's what we're up to today. My wife Abby's with me, and we're going to do a little bit of an Ask the Entrepreneur's Wife. So she's going to talk for a few minutes about what it's like to be married to someone who is an entrepreneur and who takes it very, very seriously. So we're going to do a little bit of the question and answer. We figured we would change it up a little bit from just me giving a lecture to the camera, which is sometimes what it feels like, I think. So, over to Abby. What is it like being married to an entrepreneur?
Well, I don't really have any experience being married to anybody else.
Well, I guess that's a good answer. As far as, I guess, the home life or the wacky hours or anything like that, how does this compare to what I was doing prior? And let me backtrack a little tiny bit. I've had the landscaping business for a very long time, but for a while I worked for the county and still ran the landscaping business every bit of 40 or 50 hours a week. So I essentially had 2.5 full-time jobs, and now this is what we do full-time, even if it is 80 or 100 hours a week. So what's the differences between then and now?
Well, I guess one difference would be the difference in stress levels. You were so stressed that even when you were just relaxing for a minute, you would fall asleep.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I would sit down on the couch, whether it be at my parents' house or Abby's parents' house or our couch, and within 30 seconds I was asleep and snoring. So I was maybe present for some of the family events in body, but I certainly wasn't there in mind. I was just passed out all the time.
And that's not like that anymore. You're actually present in the conversations even.
Whether I want to be or not.
It's a nice change, because now it's not, where's your husband, does he exist? It's where's your husband working now?
Yeah. So we never really went on vacations before. When I worked there, we would take time off to work on the house, or I would take time off to do a big landscape or tree project. We still don't really do too much as far as vacations, but we have a lot more of days like today where we're taking a Saturday and able to go up to the auction and spend the day together that way. How is that as far as, it's got to be very different as far as some of the dates that your other friends go on, because this is basically our date day.
Definitely different.
Yep.
I don't mind it. I mean, I'm sure some girls do, but I don't mind this kind of spending time together. It's enjoyable for me. It's enjoyable for me to see you get all excited about buying things. And just, I enjoy seeing you happy doing your thing.
Yeah, well, it is very different. Very different for a lot of people too. All the businesses are different in their own way. We're kind of in the wind down season now. We're past Labor Day, which has always kind of been the big push in the landscape world. That has changed in the last 5 to 8 years. It's not necessarily Labor Day anymore. It's kind of been pushed back into Columbus Day. So the folks that have the second houses up here have extended their summers on both sides. It used to be Memorial Day, now it's Mother's Day. It used to be Labor Day, now it's Columbus Day. But we are, I guess, in the wind down part of the year now. It's the 15th, 16th of September now, as we're recording this. And if you do some of the math with that, we've got anywhere from 3 cuts left for our lawns to 6 cuts, and that's some of that is including some of the leaf cleanup that we'll be doing. So things are kind of winding down a little bit, and we're able to get a little bit of time away. Actually, 2 weekends ago we went on basically our first ever family vacation that didn't have an ulterior motive, right?
I think it's the second one.
Oh, the second one, okay. We've gone away a couple times. We did
the lake house.
Yep, we did the lake house. That's right. So during COVID, everything was shut down. All the fairs were shut down, which is something we usually do as a family. So instead of doing that, we took all the money that was earmarked for fair, and we rented a lake house on Lake Sacandaga. So this was our second one. We went with Andrew and Michelle to their family cabin up in the Thousand Islands, and everybody had a blast. And it was, at least for me, it felt a lot more stress-free than when I was working for the county. As soon as we got back into service, I found out that one of the guys working for us, who thought he was going to have another week, ended up not having that week. So it was a pretty stressful week back from it, the 3 or 4 days that we were back from it, but we recovered fairly quickly, I think. So, you have any words of wisdom to the wives out there whose husbands want to start their own business or are running their own business?
Patience.
Patience. What else?
Support. I think it's important to be there as a listening ear for your husband, and for not just in personal matters and business matters too, to be on the same page so that you know what's going on. So it's not he's off somewhere doing something. It's, you know, he's off doing this job because this is why we're doing it. We're actually making money on it. Just knowing that side of it too, so it's not just he's somewhere. It's good to be a little aware of these things so that you don't just feel like he's gone. It's not like a regular job where you know, he's a 9 to 5, he's back home, we're having dinner, whatever. It's, you know, are you going to be home for dinner? Because you might be at a job that takes a little longer than normal, or whatever the case may be. It's important to have the expectation for the day set so that you're not expecting something that doesn't happen and then you start building resentment or something like that. You want to not have that be the case. So it's important to be upfront with how you're feeling and how things are affecting you so that he knows, so that you're not building resentment when he has no idea.
So marriage counseling 101 here. As in many things, communication is key, I would say, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I'm not always great at, but I do try. All right, so the auction has completed, and we've purchased a few things in the auction. You'll have to look for that video. I'm not sure if I'll have edited it before this is released or not, but either way, we bought a few things in the auction. Our research definitely paid off. One of the things we purchased was a really good ratchet strap, and they happen to have them up there at that auction. They always have them up there, and they sell them by the lots of 10. So they'll do something called 10 times the money. So if it's $10, it's actually $100. If it's $12.50, it's $125, of course, plus tax and the buyer fee, or the auctioneer's fee. So it's a really good thing that we actually did our due diligence and spent some time last night pricing things out, figuring out exactly what everything was worth. We bought a set of trailer tires for the Mo trailer, which was great. We got a good deal on those. Don't actually need them for this year, but they will go on probably midsummer next year. But we'll keep them, we'll store them. We got a good deal on them, and they're ready to go for next year. So I don't have to worry about it. And if we end up having a blowout at some point this year, we've already got a set ready to go on. So nice to have that. We picked up some jumper cables, ratchet straps, tires, and a couple larger items that we'll put out there in that other video. So it was really good, really happy that we did that research on those items before we went in. The other thing that helped was I had a list with me of every lot that I was interested in. Like I said, it was about 20 lots that we were interested in, and on that list, in some cases, I put what my max bid was, and I really stuck with that. So having your max bid either written down or in your head and then sticking with it makes a lot of sense. Now, Abby and I were just talking, and one of the reasons that I really like an auction is it keeps me in touch with what the prices are on these machines as far as resale value. So there was a 2850 Massey Ferguson, which is exactly what I have. It sold, I think it was a 2 or 3 year old tractor with similar hours as to what mine is, and it sold for $27,500. So to me, that means mine is worth somewhere in the 25 to 27 range. So that's something that I like to go there and watch that type of stuff. The other thing that's really interesting with an auction is, especially one like this, you have a lot of farmers in there looking at equipment. We have a lot of construction guys, and there's a lot of dealers there. Now, one thing that happened today was things, specifically the tractors, the excavators, and the skid steers, seemed to be going probably 25% cheaper than they went in spring auction, which is really interesting. To me, it's kind of a barometer of what the guys in our world, as far as the construction world go, see our economy and our market as, whether it's doing well or whether it's kind of a little bit rocky. And the fact that some of these machines are really dropping in value is kind of telling that money is expensive to borrow, and they want to be able to pay cash for things or write a check for things. So that was interesting to watch that dynamic play out today. There's a lot that can be learned at an auction. It's something that I recommend you go to. You go there to have fun. You don't necessarily go there to bring something home, but go there to have fun, watch the people interact with each other. And it's, like I said, it's a good learning experience, and it gives you a good barometer of kind of what the market will bear. So that was an interesting dynamic today. We watched some tractors go for 30 and 33,000 that brand new at the dealer usually go, or today would actually go for 43,000. So that's a significant savings even with the auction fee. So that was, again, just an interesting barometer of what the guys are feeling that this whole market and our economy right now is doing. So just a couple takeaways from the auction. So if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, please subscribe. As of recording this, I think we're sitting at 463 subscribers. And again, we're working on that 1,000 goal. And the main reason behind that is once we hit 1,000, we actually are eligible to make a few dollars a month off of YouTube, which honestly would be really nice. It's not necessarily the reason we're doing, especially this particular video series. This one I really wanted to speak to the young entrepreneurs and even the old entrepreneurs, the older folks who've decided that they retired from their job and they want to start a business, and some of the ins and outs of running the business, some of the ups and downs. There's definitely a lot of downs, but I would say there's way more ups. And really, to make a business successful, you have to be willing to be in it for the long haul. And you have to, you know, set that goal is way in the distance, right? Early on, we talked about goals and how to reach them. But one of the ways to really, I think, be successful is to have reasonable goals that you can meet, then try to exceed them, and realize that this is not a $1 million business overnight. And we're 20, well, I guess it'll be 30 years into it this year, and it's still not a $1 million business, but it's a business that we have a full-time employee who we're able to pay well, and we're able to support our family with it, have a roof over our heads, and everybody's fed, and there's some money left over. So it's the long game that really matters here. It's not winning the battle, it's winning the war. So again, thank you for watching from 8 to 38, the Chronicles of a Young Entrepreneur, and have a great day.